Greetings everyone and welcome to the Occult Think Tank. My name is Greg. In this video I am going to be talking about Pascal's Wager. Of the reasons people give for believing in God, Pascal's Wager has to be the dumbest of all. In this video I will be giving you 4 reasons why Pascal's Wager is so stupid no one should try and employ it. Number 1. It is extremely short-sighted and narrow-minded. The entire premise of Pascal's Wager is that you have a 50-50 chance of being right, when anyone with a functioning brain would have to realize that there is more to the God question than Christianity or atheism. Not to mention, the idea of a God that many Christians want to try and employ isn't the Christian model. It's more of a deistic model. They will use the idea of a creator or designer to try and weasel in the idea of a God. Then, if the person goes along with their claims, even though there are so many logical fallacies in what they try to use with the creator or designer arguments, that if they don't object and point out where those are logical fallacies, when they obviously are at multiple points, the Christian will try and make the jump of, since they go along with the God idea or creator designer idea, the deistic model, that means that they have to accept Jesus, and that means Jesus was right and the claims in Christianity are right because of this. And they're not even trying to show a logical progression from the impersonal to the personal. They just want to get the God idea weaseled in so that they can then shove their Jesus in, who didn't even fulfill the criteria for Messiah, let alone God. They also ignore the fact, and even what I had found, and I have here, in the different religions that there are, and how the Pascal's Wager in a broader sense would look, it lists hell in Judaism. And that does not exist. That's not Judaism. Because in Judaism, the word hell is Sheol, which means the grave. There is no hell per se in Judaism. Not to mention, there is no you have to believe a certain way or else in Judaism. Because the idea of sins and so forth, those are part of the 10 Commandments are 10 out of the 613 laws that were given to the Israelites or Jews. They are specific for them. They do not apply to those that are not Israelite or Jewish. But, number 2, it is completely self-centered and self-serving. Pascal's Wager isn't about actual belief, but only in feigning belief. This is very similar to what some Christians try and use of fake it till you make it. That even if you don't believe in a God and don't believe that Jesus and so forth, pretend you do until you do, which means you are trying to deceive yourself until you actually manage to deceive yourself into believing the impossible. The motivation behind this is they want to try and get a big reward in an afterlife. They're not doing what they do and proclaiming their belief because they really believe it or because it's what they want. It's what do they want it to get them. It is all about the carrot and stick mentality. They don't want to be tortured, and nobody does. I mean, let's be realistic. Let's think logically. Nobody wants to be tortured. And everybody wants pleasure over pain. That's all well and good. The thing is, Christianity is based on the idea of hoping for a big payoff after you're dead, as opposed to endless torture if you don't think what you're told. The whole premise is immoral. And it is all based on all for me and fuck you too. But number 3, if you wager on a god and you're wrong, you have lost nothing. This is a common one that those that advocate Pascal's Wager will try and employ. The thing is, this is a load of crap. Because if you wager on a god and there is no God, you haven't lost nothing. You've lost everything. Because you have wasted your life on a lie. You have lived your life with the assumption, the premise, that a God exists and that you're going to get this payoff. But if the God doesn't exist, you have wasted your life on bullshit. Furthermore, if it isn't the Christian God that you die and let's say the Muslim God is the right one, not only have you wasted your life, you're going to be tortured forever because you didn't believe in Allah, which means you have a double lose. You lose your life that you wasted believing in Christianity, and you lose in an eternity. And you can extend that even further with the Norse, the Egyptian, the Roman. It doesn't matter what religion you want to try and say. If the other religion's God would be the right one, your carrot and stick idea, what you were betting on the wrong horse. It's not a matter of you just have, if there is, like there is in this first picture of, if you're wrong, there's nothing. That's bullshit. That is only going by the belief or disbelief. It is not taking in the bigger, more realistic picture that would be behind this. But additionally, it's not just the aspect of the double loss. If you don't believe and there isn't a God, or if you don't believe and there is, then what you will have is a single loss. Because you won't have wasted your life. You'll have lived your life as you are, as you would now as an atheist, and you find out there is a God, and even if it would be the Allah, Christian, whatever, you're only going to be, in a sense, having a single loss, as opposed to losing your actual life and this afterlife thing. Not to mention the beliefs that people have directly impact not just themselves but society. We are not living in a vacuum. Nobody is in their own bubble type of thing. Our lives intersect with others, and our actions directly relate to what others experience, like the aspect of how Christians have opposed, and some still do, homosexuals being able to be married. Or if you go back in the not too distant past, how they opposed black people having equal rights, women having equal rights, interracial marriage. They did everything in their power to oppose those things as they came up socially. But in every case, they lost. The thing is, their beliefs are what were driving their behavior. If their beliefs are wrong, it is not that they have lost nothing, and those around them have also lost because of the persecution, you can use that term, because Christians are constantly trying to persecute and degrade those that are not a mirror of them. It is not just about you. If you believe and there is an afterlife, you have eternal joy and so forth, because frankly, Living in an eternal North Korea, I don't regard as a place of eternal joy. It just, that very notion makes me nauseous. But then, number 4, it reduces the intelligence of the God and the perception of the God to that of a human that can be easily lied to and manipulated so that these Christians can get what they want. And that's the real bottom line with Pascal's Wager, is they better hope that the God that they're wagering on isn't all-knowing. Otherwise, it will see right through their attempted deception. That even if their God model would be accurate, that it would see right through their feigning belief in order to try and get the big payoff. It slaps the God in the face, and it tries to act like you can play the God and be, I'm going to trick you. I'm going to act like I believe when I really don't. Because everything in my life, if you look at how they behave, it indicates they don't really believe in a God. Like, take a look at the televangelists that live like fucking royalty off the backs of the poor. If they actually believed in the God that they talk about and believe the bullshit that comes out of their mouth to try to get the money from these suckers, if they actually believed this bullshit to be real and this God to be real, they would live their lives and conduct themselves a hell of a lot better than they do. They don't give a fuck about you, me, and those in their congregation. All they care about are the Benjamin Franklins that are in the collection plate. Because that's what matters to them. Christians, don't hand me this shit that you care about a God or that you love a Jesus. You might love the idea of it, but you can't love someone you never met. You might love the idea, the fantasy of it, but you can't love a person that you have never interacted with and met and had some kind of relationship with. And you can't have in a relationship with an imaginary being, something that is just in your head. Then you have a fantasy, that you're in love with a fantasy. Be honest with yourself. You love the fantasy. You love the idea of seeing your loved ones again, because that's really what it comes down to. It's not about a God or wanting to be with a Jesus. It's meaningless. It is the desire to try and see those that have died again, and I get that. I understand it. But recognize it is bullshit. Recognize that when somebody is dead, they're gone. There is no reason to believe that anything would survive death. The way we look, like the way I look right now, is a combination of the DNA of my mother and my father. There is absolutely no reason to think that anything of this would transcend the death of this. Just like the likes, dislikes that I have, there is no reason to think that that would also transcend, because there's no reason to think that consciousness can survive. And what you're wagering on, you're making the God idea and the afterlife idea into a lottery ticket. And if you're going to play the lottery, be realistic and recognize most times when you play the lottery, you're going to lose. And you're doing the same damned thing, but what you're wagering on, you will only find out after you're dead, and then it's too fucking late. It is too late after you're dead to realize, fuck, this was bullshit. Even though the warning signs are right there in the goddamn book you don't even bother to read. because you want to try and act like you have faith. Faith doesn't mean shit. All that matters is what can you prove? Because all we have, the only thing we're guaranteed in life is here and now. And the only other guarantee we have is that we're going to die. It's going to happen. You can't sidestep it by fantasy. The reality of you're not going to survive death cannot be escaped by fantasizing. But feel free to leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. Later, people.